Hello, so what we're going to do is some simple motion tracking. We're going to show you how to do this. You'll be able to apply this to a project, and it doesn't have to be a hand, but you can do somebody walking along. You could give some thought bubbles. You could put a mask over somebody's face. You could change somebody's hairdo. You could attach like an afro to Mr. Gibson's head, whatever you would want to do. So this is the overall, what the end is going to look like. So what I've done is I've shot video of my hand moving around. To create a new composition, and I probably should have showed you guys this earlier, is that you can actually take the video that you have, you can drag it down to this little old-timey video-looking clip thing, and it'll just drop it into a new composition, boom, and it will pop up down here. So that's the quick way to make a new composition to the exact video requirements that you have. What we're now going to do is we're going to label this as, let's just label it as a finger. Does that sound okay? Or what text should we put on here? Somebody say something. Chicken, sure. Okay. So what I've done is I've taken and put, chicken. I've taken and put in the text on there. I'm going to resize it just a little bit, just so it's reasonable. And I'm going to actually track this thumb here. And to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Window. I'm going to make sure my tracker is on. It might not be on. To turn it on, you go Window, Tracker. This will pop up, this little menu here. Click on your video, and then what we're going to be able to do is go to Track Motion on there. What we're going to do is we're then going to set our motion source. Our motion source is going to be the actual video. Our current track is going to be Tracker 1, which is fine. We're going to edit our target. If you have multiple layers, you're going to want to select your text layer. If you have an image, you can track it to the image. Alternatively, you could track this to a null layer. We'll get into that later on. What you'll notice is that a dot shows up with track point 1. If you zoom in, there are 3 layers to this. You have the outer box, the inner box, and you have a plus sign. What you're going to do is I'm going to extend the box out a little bit. I'm then going to, that's nice. That is nice. I'm going to come over here to the thumb. And when you put this X right on the border of 2 vastly different colors, it tracks just a little bit better. So the outer box represents the area that it's going to look for. So if something moves fast, you need to have a larger tracking area. If something moves slow, you can have a smaller box. The bigger the box, the longer it takes to track it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a fairly big box because it takes a little bit of space for this to track. If you want to extend your box bigger, you can click and drag it. It expands on all of the 4 areas. If you want to extend just the bottom, hold down the Control key, and what you'll see is that I can then pull just that corner, just as an example. So I'm pulling that out into the bottom. That allows you just to pull the 1 box. So I will do that area. The inner box is, it helps define the area that it's going to track. So within there, it's going to look just a little bit closer to that thumbnail. So I'm going to just track that thumbnail area just like this. That should be just fine. So I have the X, that is the T, the plus sign is the most important part of this. That is the exact spot that it's going to attempt to track. What you do next is that you analyze forward. You can go frame by frame by frame, and you'll start to see that the blue dots show up behind. That is the actual track. If you feel confident that it's going to go forward just fine with a slower track, you'll notice that I'm now playing it through, and it's tracking relatively well. It's staying exactly on the spot that we wanted it to do. And if it does get off, you'll notice that it's tracked it down. If it does get off, you can hit stop and move it to where it needs to be. Now it's starting to get off a little bit. The thumb has moved. What you can do is if you want to adjust it, you can bring your box and add a little bit wider of an area, but you're going to want to pull your X, your plus sign, down back to the original area. So I'm going to make my box just a little bit bigger, and I'm going to go ahead and analyze forward some more. You'll notice it's back on track. We're going to have a little bit of a jump there. If it gets too far off, you can analyze backwards then, fix the points, and then move forward again for a precise track. But just for this example, we're going to just analyze forward. I'm not going to do the full analysis of the 18-second video, but here in a second when the thumb moves back up towards the top, you're going to see that we can adjust it. We can take and apply that layer to the chicken text. Now you'll notice that I had a smaller box before and it was running a little bit faster. Now that I have the bigger box, it is actually analyzing it a lot slower. So let's stop it, and just in the sake of time, let's shrink our box down considerably. Let's move our point back over, and we're just going to analyze this just a little bit faster, just to get this on with. And I'm going to move. Whoop, that's scary. And let's just analyze this going faster. So with a smaller box, it does analyze faster. You can see that that's moving just a little bit faster. It is less accurate. When you have a smaller box, a bigger box works better, but it is slower. Okay? So we can see it's a little bit off, but it's because it's a small tracking area. So at this point, if you're happy with your points, you can hit apply. If you want to adjust them, you can adjust individual points. You can see like this is off, so I'm going to take and, oops, let's just track these back up that way. And you can move your individual points. So it's going to go down and around and back up. If you like what you've done, you hit apply. You're going to apply it to both X and Y. We did not do this in 3 dimensions. We're just doing 2-dimensional tracking. We say OK. And what we have now is the word chicken is tracking the thumb. So let's go ahead and we'll RAM preview it. And we'll see that the word chicken kind of flies around where the thumb is going. And let's just do the couple of frames that have RAM previewed. Of course, not a whole lot. Let's just RAM preview it a little bit further. And it takes a second for it to spin up. And let's go ahead and play that, see if it's got it. You'll notice that the word chicken is floating along with the word, with the actual image of the thumb. Again, you can do this with pictures. You could do this with video. You could do this with a lot of different things. So we'll get it more into the more in-depth things. If at this point you can put a word or an image over a video of your choosing, that would be great. And as long as it tracks with motion. This will be due on Friday. And we'll see what you guys come up with. Okay?